So do you think IShowSpeed is Tarkovsky?
I like, sure. I don't know. I know Harmony. I know Harmony Korine said that, and like I want him to fund a movie of mine. So
Yeah.
like whatever he says, yeah.
That would be sick.
Yeah, I mean
That
he
crossover
should.
would
He
be
should. He should. He should. It's part. Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't watch streamers. I actually wrote a commercial though for Kai Cenat and Kim Kardashian.
No way.
Yeah, but they
Sick.
used none of my dialogue. Of course, of course. But have you heard of this director called Gibson Hazard?
No.
He's a pretty great music video director, actually. His style's kind of nuts. And I helped him write a script, but randomly they didn't need my help because at the end of the day, just Kai and him just riffed, and it was funny. But it was like, you should look it up. Guys, look it up. It's like for Kai's like Mafia-thon too. So, but that was like how I started even looking at streamers. But I know you fuck with streamers. Oh, my friend Letty is a streamer. Shout out Letty.
Shout out Letty.
I don't watch stream. I think it's like it's just that's where like the generational divide really starts to rear its head.
These guys are Gen X.
yeah.
No, you guys are Zoomers though, right? Or are you millennials?
These guys are Zoomers.
Yeah.
Okay, you're a millennial. It's that way.
It's my lot to be.
You look super young. Yeah.
No, I just can't do it. It feels too like overstimulating and like alienating to me, and it kind of like brings my rapidly declining health and mental state into stark view or something. Like I also like
well, you might like enjoy your life. I feel like you have to have like a kind of nihil.
I really don't.
Okay.
It's also
so
like
then you need to watch
the one.
Yeah, that's bullcrap, bro. You love that.
Bullcrap.
Yeah.
The one like bastion of like kind of like self-respect I still have is not feeling that the like desperation for relevance to tap into every new form of popular media.
Yeah,
i.e. streaming.
Yeah, I know. I can't get into streaming either, but I'm old. I'm like ancient, so that's like not for me. Basically, I like it conceptually, but I would not get into it probably as a
I like IShowSpeed conceptually.
Yeah,
like,
the idea of it seems dope. I'm like, go for it, man. That's awesome.
I was pretty surprised when I peeped the DOB. Do you like
what?
the date of birth?
The what?
The date of birth
Of who?
Of you.
Oh God.
Yeah. Do you
Why?
like?
What you thought I was?
DOB
older?
stats.
I thought you were like 28 or something.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
so nice. Oh, yeah, I'm fully 10 years older than that. But I in my mind, I'm getting comfortable being in my 40s. I tell people I'm 40.
Right.
Just because I have to get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think that like with the things that you work on, there's like it's like essential to like be like a young head?
Well, I would definitely be doing. I don't know. What do you mean, young head?
Like, do you think maybe it's like you've carved out a niche in the like things that you're into, and if you like pursued more traditional film, it would be like less successful?
I think I'd like to be more successful than I am even right now. I think I'm just like into what I'm into. I'm almost like I wish I could change what I was into actually and be focused on things that were like less, I don't know. A common criticism, even though I don't agree with it, is like that stuff I do is so niche. But I'm like, that's a curse of mine, I guess. I just am more interested in niche things. I would love to be able to be like, there's some people I don't like. Like there's some like, it would be amazing to be able to make like a TV show that like was watched by like 10 million people every week. That's like, I think comes from a sensibility that I just actually don't have. It's not like I'm a void. It's not like I'm not like, it is all pretty genuine, actually, what I'm interested in. I love all this stuff. Like, it actually excites me. It always has. I just love it.
So do you have faith
That's why I'm immature. I'm genuinely immature. You're like, oh, old man pee-pee. VACK. Oh, VACK. Is this a calculated thing? And I'm just like, no, I just have immature taste.
Do you have faith that something like Rachel Orman could get a cinema release?
I think it should have a cinema release. I mean, we've sold out 11 screenings in a row at the Roxy Cinema in Tribeca. This is New York. That's not easy. If I were running a company, I would say, oh, that's a movie we should play all over the country.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's definitely, there's certain ideas that the movie is only enjoyable if you're from New York, but I've had plenty of people who have like not a lot of background in niche New York culture come, and to them it's like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Those parts become almost like
I was wondering about that.
The language in Clockwork Orange.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's truly only if you're like super pilled on all this New York stuff that you even have the opportunity to hate on it.
Yeah, but I guess maybe in a lot of the like visual sensibilities, it's kind of like John Rathman, Mika Rottenberg, rather than like a Harmony Korine, maybe.
That's probably true. Yeah.
So like, I guess I admired that like you would want to bring that sort of language to a cinema rather than like fine art context.
I would bring it to that context too,
Yeah.
if those opportunities came to me. But it is a movie. You know, it's really designed for a theater experience. It has a narrative. So yeah, we want to show it in cinemas.
Fuck yeah.
We got you.
Look, to go like film bro mode for a second, I'm pretty sure they released Clockwork Orange all over the country.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's very weird to think that people everywhere, like that people who don't live on the coast don't want to be exposed to like avant-garde style movies.
For sure.
They do. They absolutely would. I think it's a false idea. There's people are also just so like, these movies have lasted forever, not just because people in New York or LA care, but because people everywhere care.
So what is the like the how do you frame, or what's the selling point? How do you frame this to a person who has sort of none of the surrounding kind of like New York context?
It's a dystopian sci-fi. You know, the fact that there's some culture in there, references to culture in there that are very niche, is more to someone who doesn't know them, could just represent how echo chamberish the internet gets. So they're like, oh, of course, like I'm watching a movie about internet culture. So the fact that it gets to a place that might be incomprehensible could resonate very deeply. Like, oh, we've all stumbled upon corners of the internet where we're like outsiders. And that's a real thrill. It can be a thrill, I think. I mean, it's part of why I got interested in meme culture to begin with, is that to stumble on a space where clearly there's a shared sense of aesthetics, there's a shared sense of slang and of language. You're like, whoa, that's interesting. You don't always have to be on the inside to like it. Like, I really want to push. I mean, I am sensitive and I am affected by the hate that I get from this movie. And so like, I always feel a little grotesque talking about it, but whatever. Like, you know, I will get for every good review, there's always a bad review that's like, this movie is like alienating to people who don't understand this. And I'm like, I really don't. I want to say I can't go with that, because the main character is like empathy personified, and like that clearly is the focus. And I don't know, like I think that those people are showing their hand in a sense, saying that like I'm personally triggered by this. Because like, for example, there's an actor who's in his 50s who was in the movie, came with his brother. They don't live in New York, they don't know shit about this, and they were just like, we talked about this film for 3 hours. Like, yes, some of it was like, what the fuck, but people don't want sometimes to be, or at least you know, it's like every filmmaker, every kind of, you know, creator of anything usually is making for themselves, right? And like, I am interested in movies that let themselves be esoteric because it's so rare.
How do you reconcile that tension with being involved in working with a crowd of people that had at a certain point so much attention put on them with this
Be
idea?
specific, like who?
Oh, sorry, so like the people you cast in the film.
Like who?
Like Dasha Nekrasova, all these types of people. And it gets associated with the Dime Square movement. How do you reconcile the tension with this being this kind of hyper online, very localized set of people with trying to make, like you say, a dystopian sci-fi film?
Well,
you see what I mean?
Yeah.
The two
for
different.
Sure. Well, for Dasha, it was easy because she's playing the character of like an internet edgelord, and so she is, and so it was just beneficial to cast someone who has that as part of their persona.
Yeah.
And then I think it is, you know, the movie's been in the works for so long, and I think at a certain point, you know, I started it as a much younger person with this as an outsider to internet culture, really wanting to make a movie about internet culture. And then I realized, oh, that's impossible because it's something different for everyone. So I felt that the only way to do it truthfully was to just be very personal about my experience. And so I do live in New York and in this neighborhood, and I'm a New Yorker. I've always been just like naively fascinated and curious and loving of New York culture and trends, you know? So those were the memes I was consuming at the time I made the movie. Those were the people I was following at the time I made the film. And so that had to just be very honest about all that and include it all.
I guess it's kind of a testament to success when you say you're trying to make it about a like experience rather than like maybe like taxonomizing what's going on, when like when all the like Crump shit came out, and he thought it was like about him. You know what I mean?
Of course. And,
Yeah.
Crumps and I are friends now. Like, he has totally done a 180 from the persona that he used to have. Like, I think he would admit there's no fascism to Decrypt. There's no literal fascism to Decrypt. It was the beginning of his project,
It feels like for how prevalent it is in our lives, there's not much like art that directly engages with the experience of being online in a very like visceral way. Like obviously it's woven into like plot points and it's like it's unavoidable. But I think this is as close as I've seen to a film or a visual attempt at capturing really, really tangibly what it is to be overwhelmed, overstimulated on the internet. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you so much for saying that. But in a way, it's also sad because, we need, I still love cinema, even though it's like who knows, I still think it's vital, but we need movies that speak to this experience and art that speaks to this experience because it is our experience. So, the attempts have to happen for sure, but I'm glad you think that.
What did you see The Beast?
Not yet.
So it kind of has this storyline, which is kind of like mimicking the like Elliot Rodger situation.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, I kind of watched it and it's like everything else about it is like really anachronistic, even in its presentation of sci-fi. And it kind of felt very like true cringe, like forced like shoehorned in like, oh, like what, like incels are like a main feature of like love in the 21st century,
Right.
rather than it being this kind of like, yeah, like construction of the experience of like actually interacting with the online experience, you know.
So
I mean?
why do you think it's there's a lack of attempts at trying to capture that experience? Is it just the difficulty in recreating it? Is there something else
totally.
at play?
I mean, for movies, definitely, because there's like a lot of technical challenges when you're trying to recreate how much people are on their phone. It's not inherently cinematic at all to just like have someone on their phone all day, but that's the truth. A lot of people are. But, filmmaking is so challenging. So it's like fun for people to just be like, it's still the 90s. It's still the 80s. Like, I can just make a regular movie. But it's why so many movies do feel kind of like, ugh, because they're not honest about how much people are on their phone. Like Eugene, for example, who I love and who's just a great friend and someone I look up to too. The amount of work he technically puts into his movies to represent the multivariant screens and the different apps is insane. It's insane. Most filmmakers don't have the stamina for it. They don't have the talent for it, So it's like, that's why. But look, like shit like this, like stuff you do gets at it more easily because it is content for the internet.
Yeah.
So I think you guys, to me, anybody who does podcasts or content, like that is what we have right now. But because I'm old, I would like movies and books about it too, and like theater, and it's eventually will happen.
I thought Red Rooms was also very good. If you saw that,
I didn't see it.
It's pretty. I think I told you about this, guys. It's like about this like model who's obsessed with this like dark web serial killer, and it's all about her interacting with these kind of like dark web forums and shit, but the kind of violence is all off screen in the kind of like classic Haneke way. But I think there's definitely like a compromise to be made between like, and maybe there's definitely like we're probably implying there's a big element is that like people are afraid to throw money at like internet stuff because they have this like preconception that it won't be understood, and like they just want to like pander to this imaginary audience who doesn't understand anything.
Exactly. And also people are scared to throw money at any movie. It's like one of the worst investments ever. So it's people are looking always to minimize their risk with films, but the paradox there is with anything creative, you always should be risking something. So that's why I think cinema's slower say than fine art or other mediums that don't require huge investments up front.
Mm-hmm.
Are you optimistic in any sense about the internet?
The internet's like life. I'm both pessimistic and optimistic about it. I think it's like it's so just a mirror of what humanity is that it's like, yeah, I'm optimistic, but also not. Like it's always going to contain the best and worst of us.
Mm-hmm.
A mirror, or like to my mind, it's kind of
just us. It just is a version of us.
It feels like an amplified version of for the most part our worst tendencies.
But also sometimes our best. Sometimes our best. I mean, I've made some of my best friends online and had some of my best creative experiences online and seen some of my favorite art sometimes online.
Yeah.
So there is yes, all of the bad parts of humanity are there, but the good parts are there too. And look, if people will never not be trying to figure out if the bad outweighs the good, and I just don't feel it's my job to even think about that.
None of this would have happened without the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is
By that you mean the polycule we're now in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The
the
five-way
five gay
gay
straight guys.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're really, I think, we're doing such great work for men to introduce the concept really mainstream of the gay straight guy.
Wait, wasn't that just being metrosexual?
It used to be, but it's evolved because
Okay.
none of y'all are metrosexuals. I'm kind of dressed like a metrosexual.
A little bit cusping.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really am. Remember we said we were going to do costume changes? I wonder if we will.
Do you think